Hello allihop, my name is Kevin and today I'm going to react to episode 5 and 6 of Young Royals season 1. So these are the last two episodes of the first season of Young Royals. I've already reacted to episodes 1 through 4 and all of those will be linked down below if you want to check those out. It's safe to say that there have been some interesting subtitles. Some that I find accurate and some that I find very not as accurate that I have discussed. But let's dive into season 1 episode 5. So here is something that I just find interesting. There is nothing wrong with the translation. It's not that. It's just a clarification kind of, and it's the fact that the word that he says is skiften, and like that. So he says skiften. This is an F and a T, and this is an N. Skiften. We use that to mean shut up. Shut up as like in full is håll käften. So shut up, you know, like when someone is talking, you'll just say like, oh, shut up, you know, that kind of thing, shut up. In Swedish, it's håll käften, which literally means hold the jaw, because käften is the jaw. A shift is jaw. And as I explained in my Duolingo video, we put the Swedish equivalent of the is at the end of a word. So N is the, so the jaw, käften, and käften. So this just means the jaw. And so håll käften, hold the jaw. The reason I wanted to kind of bring that up is because if you watch this with Swedish subtitles and you see käften and you would like Google translate it and you would see the jaw, maybe you would be confused, like why does he say the jaw out of nowhere? It's because we use that to mean shut up. And you know, as in English, you say shut up when you want someone to stop talking, and that's hold the jaw is that kind of thing, like you hold the jaw so you can't speak. So that's kind of why. So käften means in this situation shut up. This one is difficult. He is saying fy fan, which is this, which is another swear word that we use. And they translate it to this sucks. And I don't think that's accurate. I understand why, because I can't come up with a better way to translate this. I think in this situation, I would have preferred if they translated as damn it and not this sucks. I feel like damn it works better because here we have like this whole situation. So a guy is about to be expelled. He might be expelled because they found drugs on him. And in order for him to stay at Hilleska, the group has to blame someone else and they want to blame Simon. And Ville comes out and tells Simon. And Ville, of course, is worried about his family and their image because they are the royal family. And Simon, you know, says, what about my family? And Ville doesn't respond. And after a few seconds, Simon just says, fy fan. And then he walks away. And I think it would have been better if it translated this in this situation to damn it instead of this sucks, because I feel like that, you know, I don't feel like the feeling of fy fan is accurately, you know, depicted in this sucks, because with fy fan it's both the situation but also like with Ville, and I feel like with damn it would have come across in a better way. Side note, this word fan is It looks like it's one syllable, but mostly we pronounce it as two syllables. We pronounce the A twice. So it's not fy fan, it's fy fan. And usually when we just say fan, we say fan. So the A is pronounced twice. If you listen to him say this, he pronounces fan in two syllables.
Fan.
So that's just a little side note.
Det gäller terminsavgiften.
Here is something that I feel like I don't think I talked about this in my part 2 video. So August has this issue that his family is broke and they can't, afford to pay tuition to have him stay in Hillesga. The only thing is, we don't have tuition. It is actually illegal to accept money for people to go to school in Sweden. There are a few exceptions. There are a few courses you can take that cost money because those are, not part of our education system. So if you want to, for example, study a specific thing, like take night courses or weekend courses or something like that, that costs money because that is not part of university, college, upper secondary school, any kind of school form in Sweden. This is an upper secondary school and accepting tuition fees is absolutely 100% illegal in Sweden. So this whole situation would never happen in Sweden. So as I've mentioned, Hillesga would not be able to exist in Sweden. It would not exist. There are a few parts of it that would exist. For example, as we talked about with the Christian aspect, the religious aspect of Hillesga, it does exist to some extent, but not in how it is portrayed in Young Royals. And I talked about that in, I think, first or second part. But when it comes to paying for education that is illegal, you don't even have to have any money to go to a school in Sweden. You don't even have to be a Swedish citizen to be allowed to go to school in Sweden.
Jag är ledsen. Jag lovar, det finns bra kommunala skolor.
And here's another thing. So now we're going more into Swedish school systems. So she says that there are good public schools. And the Swedish word that she used is kommunala skolor. And this word, kommun, means municipality. And they clearly make a difference between kommunala skolor and friskolor. So we have a different kind of school when it comes to upper secondary school and primary school. So we have friskolor. I should write them in singular form. Kommunalskola and friskola. And this means free school. The difference between kommunalskola and friskola is kommunalskola is overseen by the state. So the parliament, they're in charge of kommunalskola. Everything, the money, everything that goes into the municipality schools are the same, what they translate to public school. That's under the control of the parliament, the people, in charge of Sweden. While friskola are instead run by an organization. There are a lot of different free schools in Sweden. I guess the correct English translation would be private school because they are private owned schools. The only thing is that private school in what you mean when it comes to Great Britain and the United States are not friskola. Friskola is completely free. It follows the same rules as public schools. I feel like there is a difference between public school and private school in other countries, that it's better to go to a private school instead of a public school, that public school is something bad. In Sweden, they're on the same level. So going to a public school and going to a private owned school, there's not really a big difference there. The upper secondary school that I work at is a private owned school, so it's a friskola. But it is completely free. The students get the same kind of education that they would in a public school. There's not a big difference there. The only difference is that the school is owned by an organization, while a kommunal skola is run by the parliament and the politicians of Sweden. And the reason that I wanted to bring that up, that distinction between what in English would be public school versus private school, is because in this situation, she makes it seem as if public school, kommunal skola, is somehow worse than a private school, which is a friskola. Okay, I just want to say that this whole thing with Lucia, absolutely accurate, absolutely accurate. And it is kind of a big thing, even though it is connected to Christianity. Some schools don't put that on it. They don't focus on like the Christian aspect of it. My school where I grew up, even though we celebrated Lucia. I think every school in Sweden celebrates Lucia to some extent. And the songs sung are Christmas songs. They don't have to be connected to Christianity. A lot of songs that are, Swedish Christmas songs aren't connected to Christianity. They're mostly connected to Santa Claus and being, thankful and peace on earth, being nice to each other, love, snow, things like that. Not in this episode is very accurate, and the food that they eat, the Christmas tree, all of that is very accurate. I would say that the Christmas tree is a little bit too monochrome. It doesn't have as many colors as a normal Christmas tree would. But the food that they eat, the gingerbread, is, like in Sweden, gingerbread is, very, very flat, very crispy. It's not soft. We do have soft gingerbread, which is more like a cake, but it's not the main thing. If you say that you want gingerbread in Sweden, you will get a very crispy, flat gingerbread and not the soft cake gingerbread, and you won't have a soft flat gingerbread either. They're very crispy in Sweden. And then you also have these saffron buns that we have so many names for them. I'm gonna write up all of the names we have. Oh my god, this is ugly. Okay, I need to redo this. It kind of looks like this kind of bun. Sometimes it has raisins on it. So these are raisins. So sometimes it has raisins on it. So it's called saffransbulle, lussebulle, lussekatt. This is, okay, I'm gonna redo this. It's an E. So this is called saffransbulle, lussebulle, or lussekatt. So lusse is short for Lucia. We do write Lucia like this, but it's pronounced Lucia. So not Lucia. I think in English it's Saint Lucia, because that's how it's pronounced in Italian. But we say Lucia, so as if it's an S. And so lusse is from Lucia, but it's a very common thing that you eat. Like everyone in Sweden has probably seen or eaten this, probably both. I think the vast majority, like 90% of Swedes, have either seen or eaten this. You will definitely see it if you're in Sweden over the holidays, you will probably see this a lot. Especially if you're in cafes, there will be some kind of saffron bun. In short, this whole thing, very accurate. Okay, I said that this was very accurate with the whole thing with Lucia. It is. There's just one thing that is missing. So in Sweden we have something called a Lucia-tåg, and it's kind of like a Lucia train. It's a line that you walk together. So it's kind of like a parade line in a way. I don't really know how to explain it properly. But in this train, as we say, you have Lucia, She kind of wears this flower crown of leaves. So it's a leaf crown with candles on them. If it's a young Lucia, then they have these, you know, fake lights that are run with batteries. But here, usually in upper secondary schools and older, you actually have live candles on your head, dripping on your hair. Very uncomfortable. But in this train, you also have tärnor, which is what the girls were with the silver and the red bands. And then you have stjärngossar. Stjärngossar are what the guys are supposed to be, but they're not going fully into the role of a stjärngosse. They have these, you know, triangular hats with stars, and they kind of look like, you know, old princess paintings with the princess having a very like tall triangular hat. It kind of looks like that. It's wide and it has stars on it, and they're called stjärngossar, meaning star boys. And then you usually have either small Santas, like small people that we call nisse, and it's just, you know, people wearing red, like wearing not a Santa costume, but similar to it, and they're called nisse. And then sometimes, not as common anymore, we used to have gingerbread people walking in this Lucia train. And the gingerbread, you're not really allowed, or you are allowed, but you should not wear a gingerbread costume because it was seen as racist. Some argue that it was racist because it was basically a form of blackface, that you wearing a gingerbread costume, you made yourself brown and look like a colored person. So the gingerbread costumes weren't, you know, acceptable outfits to wear, costumes to wear in Christmas themed things, no matter if it's Lucia or something else, because it was seen as dressing up as a colored person. So that was episode 5. A lot of things to discuss, specifically around Swedish culture, and I hope you enjoyed that. So I am back. It's a few weeks later, but I have unfortunately not had the time to sit down and do this last episode. I have 20 lessons a week, so I've had all of my energy has been put into my students and my classes. So this is the first time in weeks that I have been able to find the time to react to this last episode. So let's go ahead and do it. I feel like the first thing that I should do is translate these tweets. I assume they're tweets. The first one by Lisa Lee, but OMFG, I'm dying. And then by Sista Fronten, which means the last front or the last frontier. How will the royal house survive this? In Hot Since 98, royal porn. And then Jan Eman, finally some news that puts Sweden on the map. Haha. Then Karl den 12th, which is, oh, okay, that's funny. Mainly because I find it funny because it's a king, a former king. It would have been fun if they had Karl den 6th on there because that's the current king, but I understand why they, you know, didn't do that. But he says, poor boys, feeling sorry for them. And then Mads Lind 75, or Mads Lind 75. The end of the royal house or the monarchy. Time for Sweden to become a republic. And then Linus 03. So clumsy to let someone film. It says so clumsy to get caught on film. I don't know, it's similar, but I feel like the tweet, så klantigt att låta någon filma, and the smiley face is kind of, you know, oh, that's clumsy to let someone film, smiley face. And Alex Jonsson, never been ashamed to be Swedish before. Then Leva livet levan, writes, I know where he lives, see you there. And the translation for that was just, I know where he lives. And not, see you there, which is, a little bit threatening. And then now it says class traitor is the translation, but it's class traitor, your mom cries for your sins. And this is Roger Alvbom, 79. Annette och Molly, I think the video is fake. Jimpa Å, love for the boys. Bianca Queen, sexiest video the world has seen. And here is the Crown Princess boyfriend. The movie, or the film that shook the royal family. Everything about Crown Prince Wilhelm's new love. And then a few in English. And of course, there were so many of them that the translator unfortunately wasn't able to translate all of them. So here on the, what is it gonna be? The left page, it says the party princess secret life at the elite school. Then on the right, it says a close source, so a source that is close to Wilhelm says, I thought he was straight.
Det ser ut som att vi inte kan tysta ner det här.
And here is another thing that I feel like, because she said that they can't quiet it, they can't silence this. And the subtitle says that they can't cover this up. And those are two different things, in my opinion. Silencing a news is different than covering it up. Covering it up is actually attempting to make the truth seem like something else. You're covering it up. That goes with other things than news. But in this case, covering it up would be doing that so that it seems that he didn't do it, that it wasn't him in the video. But what she actually said was that they can't silence it. In many cases with the royal family, they just move on. And then after a specific amount of time, people will stop talking about it. We'll stop talking about whatever scandal it is. And so what she said that is that they can't silence it, meaning that they can't, hush this news and this scandal, meaning that they have to cover it up, and not, as the subtitle said, that they can't cover it up because they can cover it up, and they have to cover it up because they can't silence it. Okay, this is actually interesting because now we can get into some politics. Surrogacy is illegal in Sweden. So what they're talking about is incredibly, absolutely hypothetical. I wonder if they would change the law in Sweden if it meant that we would get an heir. Because as it is, surrogacy is illegal. You're not allowed to be a surrogate. It is said that it's a power imbalance, that having someone else carry your kid puts that person in kind of at a disadvantage. And maybe they say that they consent to carrying the kid, but maybe they actually feel like they have to, that it's kind of that they're doing it not because they want to, but because they feel that they have to. So it is illegal. Surrogacy is illegal. You can't have a kid by surrogacy in Sweden at the moment.
God dag.
Okay, he said god dag, which is very, formal greeting, good day. Not how do you do. How do you do feels so casual and informal compared to what he actually said. Because no one really says god dag when greeting someone. You either say good morning, god morgon, or god eftermiddag. Even that, god eftermiddag, is also kind of formal. It doesn't sound as casual. And god dag definitely is not how do you do. How do you do? They should have done good day, I feel like. So that was the last episode of Young Royal Season 1. Didn't have quite as much to discuss this time as I did with the 5th episode, as well as the episodes in the 1st and 2nd part. I have really enjoyed doing these little reaction videos to Swedish shows, or one show in particular right now. If there are any specific movies or TV shows that you would want to see me react to, please leave a comment down below and I will check those out. And that is it. Please let me know what you thought about this series, these free parts, and of course, if you want to discuss anything that I brought up in this little part about these 2 episodes. That is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and leave a like and comment down below, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!